Hi everybody, I'm web chef Kimberly Turner, and today I'm going to show you how to cook vegetable baked beans and hard baked eggs. Now some people call these hard boiled eggs but in the oven, but they're not. I'm not using any liquid, so they're baked. I'm calling them hard baked. Let's get started. I'm going to start with a muffin tray. This is a really great recipe for when you want to do a lot of eggs. Like say maybe you have family staying over and you have to cook for a number of people. Today I'm only going to show you 3. That's what we're going to do. So you're just going to put a regular egg just right out of the refrigerator into the muffin tray. Preheat your oven to 350 degrees. These guys are going to take roughly 30 minutes. So while these are cooking, you're going to be going ahead and making your baked beans, which won't take nearly as long, okay? So into the oven, this is your limiting factor. Get those in first, all right? So 3 eggs in the muffin cups, 350 degrees. Today I'm using roughly 2 cups of cooked red kidney beans. Now you could use any kind of beans you want. You could use chickpeas, black-eyed peas, you could use anything like that, even lentils you could use, or pinto beans, any kind of beans that you have. Make sure that they are cooked. These are not dry beans, they're not the hard ones, they're already cooked, okay? So for that, I'm going to get started on my stovetop, a small frying pan, and I'm preheating it on a medium high heat with about a teaspoon of olive oil. Now, I have 2 beautiful shiitake mushrooms. You could use any kind of mushrooms you like. I have 2 shiitakes. They are so gorgeous. And I'm just going to go ahead and kind of dice these guys. Maybe nice thin slices and then just get them into chunks, okay? These are going to be a seasoning in my beans and not necessarily, you know, as large pieces as my beans. I want the beans to be what's the star in this dish. So into my frying pan goes my diced mushrooms. We'll toss these around a little bit and get them mixed in with the olive oil. I have some of my own celery from our own garden, little tiny stalks. So I would say just use maybe 2 tablespoons or so mince, and you want to fry that up in the little frying pan with the mushrooms. Again, this is going to be just a seasoning for the beans. If you wanted to use onion, garlic, carrots in here even, you could do that as well. I have a little bit of a hot pepper. I'm not going to use the seeds because that's what's really hot, or the veins because that's where the heat is carried. So I'm just going to use maybe a teaspoon or 2 minced up finely. If you wanted to use a bell pepper or a sweet pepper, feel free to do that. Now I'm going to stir that, make sure it's combining with the olive oil, and just kind of soften these guys up a little bit. If you wanted to add butter, you could do that, but we're going to try and keep this as low calorie as possible. A little bit of freshly ground pepper. We'll also season the beans. I'm going to finely dice up about a half of a tomato. You'll probably have about a quarter of a cup of a fine dice. You could also use crushed tomatoes from a can if you wanted to, but it's just as easy to do this and crush them up. Once you're satisfied with how your vegetables look and they're sauteed and they're softened slightly in the pan, then you can go ahead and add the crushed tomatoes, heat those through, and let them just kind of simmer for a minute or so. Go ahead and add the tomatoes, let those soften up. Now, if you didn't use chili and you still want it to be kind of spicy, you could always add hot sauce here, or some cayenne pepper, maybe some chili pepper, or some chipotle even. It'd be nice. I'm going to add a little bit of salt at this point. I don't like to over salt my food. I think we all need to eat a little bit less salt in our diet. So at this point, everything is mixed through. Those tomatoes have kind of softened as well, and they're creating a little bit of a sauce. All right, so let's add we're going to add some barbecue sauce. Whatever kind of barbecue sauce you like. I try and add ones that aren't too sweet. It's a lot of calories for no reason. I'm using a teaspoon of a beautiful whole grain mustard. We're going to stir that through. The residual heat from the pan will kind of melt that into what's going on here with the vegetables. And I'm going to add my 2 cups of cooked red kidney beans, or whatever kind of beans you like. Let's get that stirred through before we add it to a nice little casserole dish and put it into our oven to bake alongside our hard baking eggs. Gorgeous. There's just enough here going on that it's coating these beans beautifully. If you wanted to add a little bit of tomato juice here, you could definitely do that. I'm also going to add about 1/3 of a cup of water. That's going to help everything kind of get together and marry and coat these beans beautifully, soften everything all the way, and give a little bit of moisture in case that evaporates in the oven while these are baking. So I'm just gonna let these guys bake for as long as my eggs still have, which is maybe about 20 minutes. Into a casserole dish or baking dish. Let's do a quick taste test just so we know what we're dealing with. Oh, it's gonna be good. Okay. Lid on, into the oven for the rest of the time that your eggs bake. All right, I'm taking the eggs out. They've been in for 30 minutes, and I'm going to just plunge them into some ice water. That's what I have here in a bowl. That way they will peel. Leave your baked beans in the oven while you wait for the eggs for 10 minutes. So I've cracked my egg open, one of them, and the air pocket is at the top, and that's really great because then you can just scoop on in. So you have a really nice tender egg, if you can see it in there. There might be some little browned bits, but it's baked. Everything that gets baked gets a little bit browned, right? So you might have some around the shell, and that's all good. But it's light and fluffy. I've seasoned it with a little bit of pepper, and our baked beans should be done. Let's get them out. Oh, they look awesome. Nice. Stir these guys up. The beautiful vegetables, that tomato and those little sauces we put in there, nice little combined with sauce all through those beans. Ooh wee, gorgeous. And oh, I wish you could smell it. Oh. Let's serve some up. Oh, this would be a lovely breakfast. Garnish with a sprig of parsley. And that is a gorgeous, healthy breakfast full of protein, high in fiber, and low in carbs. You're gonna love this. Yum. Look at these beans. Oh, come on, look at the gorgeous sauce you've got going on there. Yum. It's savory and it's satisfying. This should fill you up for quite some time. This is a great breakfast. Breakfast of champions. Those vegetables make it so savory. The mushrooms, the shiitake mushrooms, the celery. It would be great with carrots in there. Oh, that's good. A little bit of my egg. Perfect. Easy to do. Great even for a weekend. You could even do this ahead of time and just heat it in the morning. Okay, so that's it. That's our high protein, high fiber, and low carb breakfast that you're gonna absolutely love. I'm Web Chef Kimberly Turner. Make sure you're staying tuned for more of these gorgeous, healthy recipes.